The mighty caribou, colloquially known as the reindeer, and a nomadic partner of humanity for centuries. It's also rumored to be able to fly and was known to get loopy, and still probably to this day, get loopy off of Mario mushrooms and then proceedingly have Vikings drink their pee to get similar effects. Which is probably why they're rumored to fly, given the fact that when those people were around reindeer, things probably got a little floaty. Their hooves also kind of look like fluffy high heels. I'm not, by the way. So there was this trend that went around on DeviantArt back when I was on there for a little while, every Christmas season, that people would draw their OCs as reindeer, and they usually called it the reindeer games, and I think maybe there were themes surrounding it, but I think at least once I wound up drawing one of my characters as a reindeer. Thing is that I wasn't that great at like studying or references back then, so I don't think that I was that good at drawing them. And so I did actually start this session by trying to kind of doodle out some reindeer, find my style toward them. They're very snooshy creatures. I actually think they're very cute. They look a little less like bulbous than you'd expect them to be. Like, maybe that's Frozen's fault. Like, I expect that like giant, like angular head, you know? I think that's a bit more elk-like, honestly, though. They just have very snooshy faces. They have very squishy little rabbit noses and stuff like that. I just think they're so cute. But yeah, so I decided to go in and draw 3 of my characters today, 2 of whom you probably already recognize. One of which is Nori, my raccoon character, who I use as my mascot / persona. Basically, she's me. Then my character Satellite, who I did a whole video on last week, who is a shape-shifting alien, and a relatively new face, probably, to those of you who probably didn't see it on my Twitter, because I don't blame you, I posted it at 2 a.m. I created an opossum character that I proceeded to name Milk Carton. So her name is Milk Carton. She was named after the closest piece of trash to her when she was born. She is a very punk rock, trashy marsupial. So, we love her. I honestly don't really like her current reference picture. I drew it in like an hour at like 2 a.m. like a week ago, and it's not totally cohesive, but I worked with what I had there. I do like some of the details, obviously, or I wouldn't have kept her. I think that she did turn out pretty well. I just want her to be a little bit more unique. Also, her head is too big in that picture. I don't like it. Initially, I started out with drawing some sketches of reindeer, and then I went in and basically did like a stick figure sketch to figure out the poses of these 3 characters, because I was going to have them reacting to, each other and themselves. So what I wound up going with is Nori kind of investigating her change of body for some reason. Her and Milk have been turned into reindeer, and of course, now Satellite is a shape-shifting alien, so they really just wanted to be included and turn themselves into a reindeer, which is why they look like that, because they're not very good at transforming into other animals. It's funny too, because these 2 are girls, and it's, the winter season, so they have horns. Satellite isn't much of anything, so I guess, they just kind of took what features they liked, and they liked the horns, and went with that. Now, when it came to, like, the designs themselves, I didn't change them a lot from the original characters' designs, obviously. I just, made them into reindeer and gave them horns. But there are a few areas where I think that the designs got a little bit samey, so you might see me change them around here a little bit. But yeah, when I've got their reactions here recorded, I've got Nori, obviously kind of investigating her strange change of body. Satellite is just, hanging out. And Milk, who is relatively new, and I also symbolize this by giving her some smaller horns, is looking at Satellite, strange, not deer creature, going like, what is that? And Nori's just like, oh, that's Satellite, they're chill, it's fine. It's looking at me. Yeah, keep eye contact, you're doing great. After I went in and basically kind of lined them all however I felt like it, kind of let myself wander around and figure out what body parts I wanted to go for, edited things as I went along. I actually went in and I changed Satellite's whole horn design from that weird angular thing to a full circle. They almost look a little bit more like my character Rune this way, but Rune has more curly horns. Ruin, as in ruins, has these weird wild horns. At least Satellite went a little bit more symmetrical. They like symmetry, of course. That's what I said about the reindeer hooves looking like little high heels. I feel like Satellites kind of look just like their regular hands. As I was drawing them, I was like, don't their hands just basically look like this on both ends? And the answer was yes, they do. They basically just walked on their regular hands, which honestly, you got these two probably freaking out about the fact that not only have they changed species entirely, but now they're ungulates, when before they had hands. And so now they can't handle anything. Meanwhile, Satellite's like, what? This is cool. I could probably still handle stuff. I got freaky paws. And, of course, I don't think Satellite talks. Not the way that we expect them to talk, at least. It's just, they just kind of sit there, and as they're staring at Milk, they're just in silence. Just totally, maybe making some strange alien noises, but mainly, or some strange attempt at a reindeer call, like, woo! They also turned out a little bit more like an elk. I think the issue there was both the body shape, the generalized body shape that I decided to do, the kind of high neck, because it looks like reindeer don't really put their neck up that much, and the schnoz, the reindeer, though we may have been misdirected, at least in the West, by by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, don't have those little deer noses, like the weird big dog noses that white-tailed deer have. They have these little cute bunny noses. Satellite seems to have appeared to go for the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer approach, has their little gemstone instead at the tip of their nose, and it's green and glowing. I went in and started coloring, of course, and when it came to Nori's design, I wound up going in and adding some of the stripes from her tail onto her flank area, because for one, it was a little lacking, it feels like, her design, and I also brought down some of her hair color along her neck. It's you don't look at the back of her design a lot, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should do a full turnaround for her the next time I redesign her, for any of my characters really, but regardless, it's you don't see a character's back a lot, so you don't put a lot of effort into it, and she's also bipedal, so her back design just does not show up at all, and that's a bit of a problem here. So I decided to take the stripes from her tail and actually put them on her back, because I figured, you can turn the raccoon into a reindeer, but you can't take the raccoon out of the raccoon. Yeah, I decided to go, and I noticed that, Nori has a lot of white in her design. I didn't totally intend for it that way, but I suppose it makes sense. It actually works very well toward, I think, the reindeer vibe in this piece, which I enjoy. When it came to Milk, I still think that I need to work a little bit more on the distinguishment of her design. Though I do like the little pink nose that I gave her. I think that that's super cute. I love it when you got like a white animal and they just got like a big pink splotch on their nose. I just think reindeer are cute now. I've been looking at them all day. Ironically, I have actually eaten reindeer meat before. A friend of mine who lived in Sweden brought some over the first time that they visited, and then so I got to try some cured reindeer jerky. It was actually very good. I guess it just kind of tasted like meat. Like I couldn't describe it to you. Maybe I would have thought it tasted a bit like venison if I've ever had deer meat before, but I haven't. It's just nice. It was seasoned nicely, and it tasted like beef jerky. So there's that. I feel slightly bad that I ate a reindeer because they look very sweet, but you know, it's a common cultural rite of the Sami in Sweden. So, and in that like whole Scandinavian area. So I thought that was pretty cool, you know. When it came to Satellite, I basically went for like a similar design to them and to the animals that they tend to imitate, in which the longer hair areas tend to be a lighter color, and the skin bits, it's like they mistake those parts for skin, and their fur is actually that like white and purple color, right? So they kind of went for like the purple base and all that. Honestly, it feels like if they were in any other situation, they might have even toned it down a little bit more. But, you know, maybe they feel a little safe, so they can just be a little goofy and like to be included, you know? I feel like after, you know, they stop freaking out, maybe Nori and Milk would actually include them in something, which I'm sure they'd be ecstatic about. I don't know, maybe they could go frolic and do some things like that. I also, once I started shading, I realized that I had forgotten to color in Satellite's ears completely. So I went in and did that. Didn't really change a lot. What else? I think that I utilized a lot of the pencil tool in this, which I guess I already had pulled up, but it's not something that I use a lot, and I think it added a little bit of that like softness to the shadows and stuff. Otherwise, this is a pretty like routine thing. It has been a minute since I've shaded something, honestly, beyond like the I guess the whole like piece that I did for Satellite last week. Like it's been a while since I've taken like a flat drawn picture like this and actually added shadows to it. And because there's snow around, I added a lot of like underlighting. I figured that would look nice and made the shadows kind of fuzzy. So just brightened up everything around Satellite's nose, because that in itself is a light source, because they decided to go all Rudolph with this situation. I might try and go in eventually at some point or another and do like, I know that there's some of my favorite like artists have done some redraws of Rudolph, like the characters and stuff like that from that story, and it looks so fun. But I don't know, I've just never been that into drawing caribou, and now that I think that they're adorable, maybe I could get into it. But yeah, I think I'm getting toward the end here. Got a little bit of watermark on the characters and stuff like that. Cleaned up a few areas and basically called it done. This was a relatively short drawing, despite the fact that it was 3 characters. So yeah, that's the full piece. This is kind of my little holiday event drawing. So I hope that you liked it. Did you guys do anything for the holidays fun? Did you learn anything from my little reindeer stint? That's all true stories, by the way. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time.